this evening, but on what's brewing today, battery swapping services provider Battery Smart has raised $65 million at a $340 million valuation. The funding round was led by South African private equity firm LeapFrog Investments. Early angel investors and Aureus venture partners were among those who sold shares in the secondary sale. In July last year, Battery Smart raised $33 million from investors like Tiger Global, Blume Ventures, Ecosystem Integrity Fund and British International Investment. Joining me now to discuss this further is Pulkit Khurana, the co-founder and CEO of Battery Smart. Pulkit, it's great to have you back on Startup Street with us. You know, to start with, can you talk to me about the kind of growth that you've seen since the last time we spoke, maybe last year? In FY23, you saw about revenues of 63 crore rupees, but your losses had also widened to 64 crore rupees, right? Now, take us through the financials for FY24. I think an EBITDA profitability was also reported. How did you get to this point?
Hey, hi, Arundhati. Thanks for having me here. It has become like a ritual to be here every
Absolutely.
year.
Yes.
Thanks a lot again for hosting us. So we're constantly, obviously, investing because this is a new category that we are trying to build. Battery swapping has not been scaled at the pace and size the way we are trying to build it out in India anywhere else ever before, right? So obviously, it takes a lot of investment in people, technology, as well as on the capital expense side because we own all the batteries on the network. And that means in the early formative years, we do have to invest and bear some losses. And that is the reason why you see that loss number going up. But we have grown significantly since we talked last time. We are now present in more than 30 cities. We serve more than 85,000 battery swaps every day, and close to 50,000 customers benefit from the battery swapping offering that we are providing for two-wheeler commercial users as well as the three-wheeler users. We hope to continue growing at that pace and reach out to more cities, both North India and South India. And serve as many customers as we can in the next 12 to 14 months.
Absolutely. So you're seeing massive growth there, but can you tell us, are you EBITDA profitable at this point? What are the FY24 numbers looking like?
So we have clocked a lot of months consistently as a profitable month at EBITDA level last financial year. However, we could not close the entire year cumulatively on a positive number. We are definitely targeting to be there this financial year.
Okay, so targeting to be profitable in this financial year. Now let's, get into the fundraise, right? You're primarily going to use the funds to fuel your next phase of expansion. So you now have 1,000 stations, like you said, across 30 cities. Can you elaborate on your expansion plans? How many more cities will we see you in? Where do you plan to grow this year?
Sure. We've very recently launched Bangalore, Mumbai, and Hyderabad. We'll definitely go deeper in those cities. Earlier, for the first 2 years of operations, we were predominantly in NCR only. And then we opened a lot of other cities in and around Delhi, which is in UP, in Rajasthan. We have recently launched a few cities in Bihar as well. We are planning to launch at least 10 more cities in the next 3 months, mostly North India again. And this is because there's a lot of three-wheeler concentration in North, which is already electric. But we should be touching most of the larger cities as well as tier 2 cities in next 12 months.
All right, most of the larger and tier 2 cities in the next 12 months. But in the next 3 months, we're going to see you in 10 more cities in the north of India at this point. But, what about swaps? Which EV makers do you work with? What's the kind of uptake you've clocked? You did mention 85,000 swaps, right?
Yeah, we actually do 85,000 plus swaps on a daily basis right now. We are a very horizontal network, Arundhati, in the sense that we are very agnostic of the use case, the form factor, the make and model. In fact, more than 200 makes and models are reflected today in our customer base, and that is growing every month. We are trying to work with as many OEMs as possible across two-wheeler brands as well as three-wheeler brands, so that the customers can benefit from a reduced capex or a reduced affordable price tag when they go and buy these EVs. Because we finance and own the batteries, essentially a customer can become an EV owner at as low as 40% or 50% of the cost that otherwise they would have to pay along with the battery pack. And while we are also solving for their downtime problem, because we serve commercial users, that means more income for them.
Okay, more income for them. And speaking about your partnerships, you also recently partnered with Zepto to enable access to over 1,000 battery swapping stations that you have, right? So can you tell us a little bit more about the partnership and take us through your client network and use cases as well?
Sure. We have done a similar partnership with Zomato as well in the past, and Zepto is the next edition. Given that the two-wheeler commercial segment that we are serving is predominantly being used for either food commerce companies or quick commerce companies, right? And this is the leg where we see that currently, even now, more than 95% of their fleets are still running on petrol, while there is strong intent to go electric. And that is where we come in, where we are trying to enable their fleet owners or fleet operators, individual drivers who are working as delivery partners for these companies, to be able to afford an electric scooter at a lower price point, while also ensuring that they have no range anxiety and no downtime to charge their vehicles so that they can continue delivering throughout the day. That can only be possible if these customers adopt to swapping, because charging these batteries would mean downtime and there's loss of income.
Absolutely. And, what about your tech play? Like, what is your tech play? How do you decide, the sort of placement of these centers, density of your network, and the time taken for these swaps?
So every battery on the platform is essentially a smart device that is relaying real-time information in terms of geolocation, state of charge, voltage, current, etc. What this does is enable us to map out the entire city in terms of traffic patterns, and thus on a geolocation basis, we can pinpoint where the next station should be opened and what should be the right capacity of those stations. Thus ensuring that the customer has minimum dead kilometers to find a battery and also minimum wait time. We also redirect traffic intelligently so that the customers do not have to wait for a battery when they reach a station.
All right. And, I have to ask you, the draft battery swapping policy saw a lot of pushback with many companies saying that it favored the bigger players, especially when it came to standardization of batteries, right? Now, we've not heard much about it. It's almost come to a standstill. So with the new government now in place, what's your take on this and what needs to be done?
So I think the entire industry had a unanimous opinion that the standardization is a bit far-fetched, given this is a new technology and it would evolve over time. And we should let distribution and market forces decide what kind of batteries our customer adopting to. And the good thing is that the government was very receptive of that idea and they dropped enforcing a standardization at such an early stage. So I don't think it was favorable for larger players or smaller players. It was actually far-fetched to standardize something which is a very new product and a very new technology that is yet to evolve. We do more than 70% of swaps that happen in India today, right? And if we are a large player, we still had the same opinion as everyone else that it's too early to standardize something which is yet to evolve.
All right. All right, Pulkit, we're out of time on the show, but thank you so much for joining us and we wish you all the best on your journey going forward.
Thanks again.